Still trying to wake up. Yo, what's going on, everyone? I just wanted to jump in front of the camera here for a second and pretty much just let you guys know that if you enjoy my content, just be sure to hit that like button. It lets me know that you actually enjoy the content that I'm putting out. It also helps build my channel up and it pushes me to create better content each and every week for you guys. So if you could just do me that favor before we jump into this video and just smash that like button. I'm actually aiming for 400 likes on this video. So without any further ado, sit back, relax. Nah, that sounds really familiar. I swear. There's someone on YouTube that says that exact same thing. Nah, I'm just playing with you guys, but for real though, just enjoy my very first soul swap video on this channel. It will absolutely not be my last. This is just the first time I've actually been able to film one. So let's get started.
Lovely.
Fuck prison, stay outside the box. You gotta think outside of the box. Even if you're an honest man, lie to the cops. Most of them only wanna see you confined in a box, either a cell or a coffin. Happens often, force using force with the laws they enforcing. They neglect us, plus disrespect us.
Yo, what's going on YouTube? Thank you guys so much once again for tuning into my channel, and in this video today we are finally going to soul swap a pair of Air Jordan 4s. And if you are watching at home and following along, a couple of the things that you are going to need in order to complete this project are: obviously you need your shoe that needs the actual soul swap, a donor pair of shoes, and for this particular job I'm going to be using a pair of Thunder 4s, but preferably what you would want to use is a pair of Dub Zeros or Countdown Pack Bred 4s in the same size. And because we aren't using a Dub Zero or a Bred 4 from the Countdown Pack, what we are going to have to do is actually shave down this midsole once we remove it, but we're gonna get into that later. You will need a paint scraper, some acetone, and for anyone tuning into my channel, I always let you know that this is literally just an old bottle of nail polish remover, and what I do is take straight acetone and just fill it up. Infinity Barge Cement, Angelus Flat White, Angelus Flat Black, some painter's tape. I'm going to be using the 3M Edge Lock tape that you can get at pretty much any hardware store, some cotton balls, a regular paintbrush, a product to remove the paint from the midsole on the donor pair. I'm going to be using a poly stripper. I will also leave a card on the video right now in case you want to watch my video on how to use this product. And some sort of garbage bin. You do not want to get this midsole all over your carpet. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat before we actually jump into it. And while we're on that topic, pretty much what we need to do first is get this old midsole off. Literally all I'm going to be doing is just picking apart at it, scraping apart at it. I'm going to be using a heat gun at sometimes. But without wasting any more time, let's get this midsole removed from this pair of 99 Bred 4s.
Say can and will be used against you, against you. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you, against you. Can't you see they're against you? Wake the fuck up. POW can.
Now this is actually the best that I'm going to be able to do until I have to actually apply the acetone to it, and you don't want to apply too much acetone to the upper if you are doing this at home. Just be careful. Pretty much what we want to be doing now is getting the rest of this midsole off just to ensure that we have a very clean surface to re-glue on. So I'm going to take some acetone, put it on a cotton ball, and get the rest of this midsole off. Alright, so I got the old midsole completely off of the shoe here, and if you were wondering how I got inside of the toe cap, I'm just going to let you guys know right off the bat, I am not going to be removing the stitching. Pretty much, I'll be straightforward with you guys. I have no idea on how to use a sewing awl or anything like that. That's something that I will learn one day, so I'm going to be actually doing this sole swap with the actual outsole still attached to the shoe. And if you're wondering how I actually got into the toe cap area to get all of that excess midsole out, what I did was I just took a cotton ball, a bunch of cotton balls actually, soaked them with acetone, and just jammed them in with a file, just moving back and forth. I'm sure that you actually saw me doing that in the actual time laps. If not, I do apologize. This is definitely not the last sole swap that I'm going to do. But like I said, we do need to get the midsole off of that donor pair of shoes. So what we're going to do is go into the kitchen. I'm going to boil some water, and we are going to pour it directly into that nice fresh pair of Thunder 4s. So we were successful in removing the donor midsole, and I'm not going to lie, that was a complete pain in the ass. It's a pretty new shoe, so the glue is still extremely set on there. But as you can see here, there are some parts of the nubuck that actually stuck to the midsole, and I'll be straight up with you guys, little things like this you don't really need to worry about unless it's sticking out very far in the midsole. This is very flush and very smooth. It is not going to affect the reglue whatsoever. So what we are going to do next is actually just get a test fitment. We are going to shove it right in there, and I'm just gonna let you know right now, since this is not a donor from a pair of Dub Zeros or a Countdown Pack Bred 4, it is definitely not going to fit comfortably in here. That's about as far as I can get it, and if I sent the shoe back looking like this to the customer, I'm sure that he would be extremely pissed off. So what we're going to have to do is take this midsole out and just shave it down right around here on the toe area. I am going to be using a rotary tool so we can actually achieve that, and let's get straight into it. So I am pretty much done shaving down the donor midsole. We're going to do one more test fitting. Well, hopefully one more test fitting. We'll find out right now whether or not I'm going to be able to work with this donor, and we are going to slide it right in there, try to line it up as best as we can. Let's see here. That is looking pretty flush. Let's see. Yeah. Not too bad. There are a couple places where it could be a little bit better, but I physically cannot shave the midsole down anymore, or else it's just going to snap in half, and I don't want that to happen because right now I really can't afford to pay for someone's donor midsole. So I think what we are going to do is just move forward with actually stripping the paint off of this old midsole, and once we are finished stripping the old paint, we are going to have to repaint it to actually look like the midsole of a pair of Bred 4s. So let's get to stripping off this factory paint. Alright, so it is time to get the paint off of this donor midsole, and like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm going to be using a poly stripper in order to do this. There should have been a card at the very beginning of the video. Make sure that you have your annotations turned on in order to see these cards. So if you want to learn how to use this product, just go back to the beginning of the video and make sure that your annotations are on, and let's get this paint removed from this donor midsole. So we are finished stripping the paint off of the donor midsole, and what is left to do before we actually get to repainting this is that there is a little bit of excess glue from when I actually removed it from the donor. So what we are going to want to do is just take some acetone to it and just try to get off as much of it as we can. And in order to do that, we are just going to take some cotton balls that are soaked with acetone and just start rubbing. So let's get going. Okay, so we are completely finished with painting the midsole. All that's left to do is apply a little bit of finisher, but the lines are looking nice and crisp, nice and straight, and you may be asking yourself why I painted so far down on the actual midsole here. Well, the answer to that question is just in case when we are regluing this, it is not a perfectly flush fit. As I have said so many times in the video already, this is not the preferred donor that I wanted to be using. I'm doing the best with what I was given, so hopefully this fits flush, but if not, we have these little black marks right here to at least give the illusion that it is fitting flush. And the only way to really tell that is if you get really close to see if the shoulder of the midsole is actually fitting up flush against the mudguard. But now we are going to jump straight into the reglue process of this sole swap. I am going to be using some barge cement, some quick grip clamps, and I'm also going to be using some very standard steel clamps. So in order to get this reglue going, what I'm going to be doing is the exact same method as when I reglue a pair of Air Jordan 11s. I will leave a card on the screen for you to follow if you are at all interested in learning that technique, and let's get to regluing. Alright, so we have finished regluing the first portion of the midsole to the outsole, and if you are wondering at home how long you should keep the clamps on before moving on to the next portion, roughly 10 to 15 minutes. That is going to be the best advice that I can give you. It isn't a permanent grip at that point, but it's strong enough where if you want to work on another part, it won't separate. So I'm going to continue gluing this midsole to the outsole using the exact same method that I use on the front. We are just going to run a time lapse to save some time on this video, and let's get to gluing. So I am finished regluing the midsole to the outsole, and like I said in the very beginning of the video that I am not working with a preferred donor. I'm working with a pair of 2012 Thunder 4s when ideally I would really much rather be working with a Dub Zero or a Countdown Pack Bred 4. But like I said, sometimes you just have to do the best with what you are given, and now it is time for us to glue the midsole to the actual upper of the shoe. And in order to do that, I am pretty much going to be doing the exact same thing that I did for the midsole to the outsole. Just gonna glue it in sections, heat it up, clamp it, glue it, heat it up, clamp it, glue it, heat it up, clamp it, and we should be finished. And once I finish gluing the midsole to the upper, I am going to be applying a finish to the actual paint job. Yes, I'm going to be using the matte finish and duller combination. I will leave a card on the screen for you guys right now if you are at all interested in learning on how to make that combination yourself. And let's get to gluing this midsole. Alright, so the actual sole swap is completely finished, and all there is left to do is apply a bit of finisher on the midsole and to actually give the shoe a nice clean. And like I said before, for the actual finish on the midsole, I'm going to be using a mixture of Angelus Matte Finish and Duller. And in order to get this shoe nice and clean, I will be using Reshoevn8r Ultimate Sneaker Solution. And if you are at all interested in saving 20% off of your entire order over at Reshoevn8r.com, be sure to use my discount code at checkout. The discount code is xChaseMaccini, the exact same as it is here on YouTube. I will also leave it in the description down below for you to follow. Now let's finish this shoe off.
There is a feeling that I'm floating on a calm sea before the storm. I am restless now and so uneasy in my sun-bleached sails hanging up the toe.
Reporting live from the basement. I'll shut up when I'm fucking dead. E.T. aka Travis Bickle. Ladies know him, a lot of them had the pickle. Your boys know him for leaving rappers crippled. For those who don't know him, I have a riddle. So, how many MCs do you gotta be through till you finally find one who ain't see-through? Somebody that can read you and equal, won't lie, misguide or mislead you. A real person that raps to the people. No, not a snake, pig, rat or a weasel. So how many do you gotta preview till you come across one who ain't another sequel? Answers a lot, but here in this spot, in human form right here is hip-hop. Here's the plot, it is I and I is it. Can't clone me, so don't even try that shit. But I don't even care if you bite my raps. I know that you can't do it quite like that. Make a fool of yourself, you're fooling yourself. I don't even gotta clown you, you do it yourself. When I'm rhyming on the beat, I ain't trying to compete. Trying to compete and say hi to your defeat. If you start real shit, no, ain't replying on a beat. Fuck that, come and find me in the street. Rhyming on the beat, I ain't trying to compete. Trying to compete and say hi to your defeat. If you start real shit, no, ain't replying on a beat. Come and find me in the street.